Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to a progress update video on something I've been working on for the past couple months. Last patch, Hoyo added Siege and Onslaught to the game, and it gave us an actual endgame mode. And on top of just the actual normal endgame stuff, it also provided us with an additional piece of challenging content that doesn't have actual proper rewards, just has cosmetic rewards that are temporary, but that's basically something that you can do to challenge yourself with the dire difficulty, which I haven't unlocked on this account yet, but we'll get to that. Because they added that, and because of the way that it's balanced, which is it's balanced to be very difficult but possible for well-invested C0R1 teams. It will sometimes be possible for C0R0, but not every boss will be possible for C0R0. Because what I do on my main account doesn't involve going for character constellations or signature weapons, it effectively means that dire mode on my main account is not something I'm meant to be able to clear. I will sometimes be able to do one of the bosses, maybe even two, but I probably will never be able to do all three of them. But I figured, what if I just made another account where I actually do go for the strong early constellations on characters? I'm still not going to spend money on this game, but you can go for constellations without spending money if you're willing to go for less units in total. And so that was the idea behind making this account. And I made this account about 2 months ago. And as of last week, basically 2 months exactly into making the account, I have 36 start Abyss. So if it was just for Abyss stuff, I would basically already be done. But I made this account for Siege and Onslaught, so I wanted to make a video and talk about the progress I've made on this account, the decisions I've made, why I've made them, and what I'm planning to do going forward. So, first, this was a banner that was available when I started the account. And my first major decision was to skip Skirk. If you've been following the meta at all, you'll know that Skirk is a pretty strong character. So some of you might be surprised by my decision to skip her. So I wanted to quickly explain to you guys why I decided to skip her. The main obstacle for my goal of clearing dire difficulty is time. If you're not gonna spend money, the amount of Primo Gems that you obtain is pretty directly correlated to the amount of time spent. What that means is that your goal, if you're trying to clear dire, should be to find the teams that can clear dire level content with the lowest amount of 5-star pulls. And that's where the problem with Skirk comes in for an account like this. Skirk is a great character, but her premium team has 2 other 5 stars, both of which are fairly important. And C0R0 Skirk generally won't be able to clear dire. That means that in order to be able to clear dire, you're gonna need at least 4 5-star pulls. And on top of that, that's assuming everything goes right. But it's also assuming that the characters on Skirk's teams get reruns at times when I have the Primo Gems to afford them. In other words, committing to Skirk on her release banner would have made it very difficult for me to make other decisions going forward. In total, 4 5-star pulls to get a dire clear isn't that bad. It's not great, but it's not that bad. But relying on specific other 5 stars means that if I do get Skirk, and then Escafie gets a rerun in 5.1, say, it effectively means I can't go for Flynn's, because I need to save my Primo Gems to guarantee Escafie before her banner is gone. I said 5.1, I meant 6.1, you know what I mean. The reliance on multiple different 5 stars gives me less flexibility on when I can spend my Primo Gems, which isn't really ideal for an account like this, where the goal is to get to a dire clear as quickly as possible. It still would have been fine to go for Skirk. I could have gone for like C1 R1 Skirk, and then maybe I would have been able to get a clear with Arena Charlotte or something. But then there's also the fact that dire content might be a little bit less favorable to Skirk a year-ish from now, which is more or less the time window when I would expect I would be ready to start seriously tackling dire difficulty. Because she just came out, content was designed to be favorable for her very recently, but there's no guarantee that'll stay the case in the future. Anyways, I decided to go for Mavuika after this Skirk banner. There are a few reasons for that. One, Mavuika is the strongest carry in the game. Two, her C1 is pretty whatever, but her C2 is very good. So overall, it's pretty strong. Three, Mavuika is also a character that sees play in the best teams of other carries, and her C2 gets value there. So even in the long term, C2 Mavuika will stay useful on my account, even if she gets power crept later on. On top of that, the optimal Mavuika team, technically you want to use Shilonen, but Shilonen is not necessary at all. It's more of a comfort thing. So you can use Beta Yansan, which means that you're not reliant on 2 additional 5 stars, it's only 1 with Citlali. On top of that, while Citlali is very good, I'll be able to have a strong Mavuika team with throwaway bullshit with C2 Mavuika that'll at least be able to do one side of Abyss for me, no problem. So I won't be missing out on any Abyss primos. So all of those reasons together is why I decided to go for Mavuika, paired with the fact that Yansan was on her banner, and Yansan and her constellations are good, so getting her was nice. I might consider going for her signature at some point, but I decided not to go for it on this banner because Luminous is too dog shit. And Mavuika will probably get a rerun by the time this account is ready to do Dire anyways, so if I think I need the sig, I'll just go for it then. Next was the Ineffa and Citlali banner. I decided I will not go for Citlali. Right now, getting Citlali would finalize my Mavuika team, and honestly, I'd basically have a Mavuika team that can clear Dire. The problem is, I don't have other teams that can clear Menacing, let alone Fearless, and let alone Dire. So getting Citlali for that wouldn't actually do anything for me. And also, I wasn't even able to clear Abyss. And so I made the decision of focusing more on my other teams and potentially getting Citlali either on her next rerun or the one after that. For the Ineffa banner, I decided to do a few pulls on it to try to get copies of Sing Sao and Fischl because they're just fairly useful units to have. And then I lost my 50-50 and I didn't get Ineffa. And then they announced the Mulanni banner. And I saw that there was Bennett and Aoife on the banner. Aoife's not that good, but since I don't have Sucrose, Animo Catalyst is kind of useful for me right now. I saw this banner and I was like, okay, if I go for this banner and I get spooked by an early 5-star, I'll lose my guaranteed 50-50 to Mulanni. I could go for Mulanni, but honestly, I don't really feel like it. I hate this character with a passion. And so I decided, all right, in that case, here's what I'm gonna do. I'll just get Ineffa to get rid of my guarantee so I can go on this banner without risking getting spooked. If I properly do my exploration and my events and all that, I should be able to also guarantee Flynn's before Flynn's banner is over. And Flynn's is a character that functions fairly similarly to Skirk when it comes to the way his teams scale with constellations, but his base team is a tiny bit weaker, but in exchange requires 1 less 5-star. Basically, I could do a C1 Flynn's like optimal Flynn's team with the same amount of pulls as a C0 optimal Skirk team. And between the two, I'd actually rather have C1 Flynn's. On top of that, content is gonna be tailored for lunar reaction stuff for the foreseeable future, so I figured that getting Flynn's was probably a pretty decent idea. And so I've decided that I would go for Ineffa and then go for Flynn's. And that leaves us to the current state of our account, which is we finally got our copy of Bennett on the Mulanni banner. We got it fairly early. We didn't get spooked by an early Mulanni. Bennett is C0, but honestly, that's good enough for now. Constellations will come later. I got Ineffa. Ineffa's not fully invested yet, but he's looking all right. And my current primo count is fairly low, but we will slowly but surely build it back up for Flynn's. And the new area is also gonna get us a bunch. But yeah, there's a lot of standing primo gems on my map right now. Like if you look at my exploration percentage, all these being noticeably below 100% effectively means that there's a lot of primo gems hidden there. So as long as I'm properly taking care of my exploration, I should be able to get enough for Flynn's before his banner is gone. In any case, I'm sure some people are a little bit curious as to what my current highest possible damage I can do is, and I'm kind of down to show you. My Mavuika is currently on an R1 title shadow. It's a little suspicious. Obviously, if I want to use this weapon, I should actually refine it, but I just can't be bothered farming rocks for this shit, especially when I'm going to eventually bench it for something else. And it's not like the refinements are going to be the difference between a clear and not a clear right now, so eh. 900k. For now, it's alright. It'll obviously be higher once we get a real Animo unit instead of Lynette. Once we get Silali, it would also be higher, obviously, with properly built Bennett, with Yonzon Sitlali. Our Lunar Charge team does fine. Our clear was fairly tight because the Lunar Charge team is still quite a bit weaker than the other one. We're hitting for about 20k on our reaction Lunar Charge damage and a little bit over 40k on the Ineffa A4. A1, sorry. I wasn't targeting the right enemies, but the reaction damage is fairly low, all things considered, right now, because our characters are now level 90, and that's the main thing it scales with. Our ascension damage is pretty normal for a team like that. Obviously, it'll be a lot higher if we get a real Animo unit. I really wish I had Sucrose, honestly. I'll level Ineffa and use him instead for now, but I just got him a few days ago. In any case, our banner luck has honestly been kind of unbelievable. I did about 300 wishes on the Mavuika banner. I did about 150 on the Ineffa banner. So I've done like almost 500 wishes on limited banners so far. And across those 500 wishes, I have not obtained a single off-banner 4-star character. I only got the on-banner characters or weapons, which is kind of crazy. All the 4-stars that I have that weren't banner characters are from the standard banner. And like, they got Ineffa and Bennett on this banner. Before that, it was the Ineffa banner, which was Fischl, Sethos, Singto. We got Singto, weapon, Sethos, Singto, weapon, Singto, Sethos, weapon, Singto, weapon, Sethos, Chi-Chi, Sethos, weapon, Sethos, Fischl, weapon, Fischl, weapon, Singto, Fischl, weapon. Before that was the Mavuika banner, which had Eonson, Yao Yao, Shangling, Eonson, Yao Yao, weapon, Yao Yao. I'm not gonna keep going, but you get the yeah. So it's been a little cooked because of that, because just the amount of 4-star characters I have is a lot lower than it should be. It means that entering IT is difficult, and my team options are fairly limited overall as well. But it is what it is. It's also a tragedy. I've gotten 3 Yao Yaos from the standard banner, but I also got 8 Yao Yaos from the Mavuika banner. So 3 of my standard pulls were just completely worthless. This account also started with first 4-star was Bell, second 4-star was Bell, third 4-star was Chongyun, fourth 4-star was Flute, or some shit like that. It was not a good start, but I didn't want to reroll, so I just kept going with it. I'm currently on C1 Telnari because, again, Oyo just hates me and refuses to give me new characters. It's trying to keep me out of Imaginarium Theater. Even despite all of that, I still somehow managed to get enough characters to enter hard difficulty of the current IT. I got my rewards for it. As long as you can enter, honestly, this is pretty trivial to clear. Anyways, going forward, the plan is to go for Flynn's, and then if I get Flynn's early, I'll try to go for cons on him. Both his C1 and C2 are fairly powerful early constellations, so if I end up getting them, I'll be pretty happy. Also, one of the few things that actually went right, or one of the few things I got lucky on this account, the standard weapon I got was Jadewing Spear, and Jadewing Spear is one of the few standard weapons that is actually impactful, especially if I end up going for Flynn's. It's obviously not as good as his signature, but C1 with Jadewing Spear is so much better than C0 R1. This account is not free to play. I didn't spend any money on it, but people have gifted me Welkins. I don't care enough about the free-to-play label to be bothered by that, but for the sake of transparency, I want to mention it. I'm never going to spend any money on this account, and I'd prefer if people don't gift, like, top-ups, but I really don't mind being gifted Welkins. It is what it is. Also, important to keep in mind, right? If you have a Welkin for the next 4 years, it won't be enough to make up for missing 4 years of login rewards and event rewards. So, as long as I don't end up getting top-ups, this account won't end up with more Primogem economy than old accounts. which is part of why I'm not too bothered by it. I mean, things are looking pretty good right now. I have a bunch of characters level 70 because I leveled a lot of them so I could enter the current IT. I'll keep doing that to at least be able to enter hard difficulty IT on each iteration. I don't think I'll bother trying to go for Visionary yet, because I just don't have enough characters to enter and it's going to take a while to get them. But who knows, maybe at some point I'll go for it. Let's not talk about how good my Molani artifacts would be if I ended up going for Molani on this account, because it kind of makes me angry. Anyways, right now the plan for the future, like I said, I want to get Flints. I'm gonna go for cons on Flints, and after that I'll probably hold off. I'm not gonna pull for anyone in 5.1, and I'll see how things look for Columbina. Once we know more about Columbina, I'll probably either go for Columbina if she ends up being an upgrade to Flint's teams, or I'll skip her and try to go for a different team. Maybe if Columbina doesn't suit my Flint's teams, maybe at that point I'll consider going for the following Molani rerun, or maybe I'll end up going for Alice. Who knows? The plan for the 5-star selector right now kind of doesn't matter. The reality is that on an account like this, I will never be using any of the standard 5 stars in my dire teams. So my main focus should be to get a 5-star character that gets me to a unit number breakpoint to enter a higher difficulty of IT. Because that's like up 200 Primo Gems. If I already had all of them, I'd probably go for Monacons, because she's the only one that I could maybe potentially consider using, but man. Or maybe I would go for Tirhnari Con just to get closer to C6, because once I have C6 Tirhnari, additional copies of Tirhnari will be converted to more Star Glitter. Maybe that's the 5-head play. Right now, I'm in the process of building my Bennett and Ineffa mostly. I still have my Eonson to finish building, but I don't want to use Dream Solvents if I can avoid it, so I'm just gonna slowly build her when I end up getting these from the Arlecchino boss. I'm also crossing my fingers and hoping we get a real event weapon that I can use on Mavuika, because using Tidal Shadow feels awful. So I would much prefer having an actual weapon I can use. That's obviously not currently the case. I unfortunately do not have Mailed Flower that I can use. GG. But it's okay. We'll get an event Claymore that isn't made for lunar reactions soon, right? But yeah, that's pretty much it for the current state of the account. We're Air 55, halfway to 56. I think I'll make another progress update once I'm able to clear Fearless. But that's probably not gonna happen for a while, because my current plan is to go for Flynn's, and Flynn's does not give me a third team. Flynn's just makes my Ineffa team stronger, which means the next banner I go for does not unlock the ability for me to enter Sigyn Onslaught Fearless difficulty. Maybe if I end up getting baited by the prospect of getting Bennett Constellations and find myself with a Molani. That's gonna be it for the progress update. I hope you enjoyed, hope you learned a thing or two. Yeah, if you wanna keep up to date with the progress of this account, it'll mostly be happening live, not on YouTube, so come follow me on Twitch. I do stream every day. Drop by, say hello, and I will be seeing you there. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, YouTube.